Calvin T. Mann, leading Emiy, served over 20,000 youth through speaking, coaching, and mentoring. He has inspired us for years. Welcome to Emiy TV Podcast with your host, Calvin T. Mann, the Encourager.
What's up? Good afternoon, 4 o'clock, high noon in the daytime. We here live at Emiy TV. In the next few weeks, we're going to be doing some special things, some new things you're going to see with Emiy TV and blossoming Emiy TV into another level with international and national interviews, the whole nine. My name is Calvin T. Mann. I'm the president and founder of Encourage Me, I'm Young. This is Emiy TV. In the room is Boog with our co-hosts. Are in the room as well, Miss Hetheru.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
And Brother Dave Patterson.
Hey.
Soon to be Dr. Dave. Yes. Is this the new native song today?
Oh, looks like it. Let's see. What's it say? The lesson for the journey.
And so, okay, so I'm going to start this off real quick, Dave. I'm just, first of all, I'm not as mad as I was yesterday. I got a break. I got some information.
Yes. Thank you.
That,
Thank you.
That has helped me look at things in a different light. All right. And that's me, excuse me. And another part of this conversation that I want to have today is the Emiy brand, right? So we're talking all merch today. We're talking stories from merch, and then we're going to work our way down. I'm going to get into this whole Adidas thing, but I wanted to share, right, the Encourage Me, I'm Young brand story, because Detroit and southeastern Michigan and many other communities have missed this blessing right in their backyard. And so I want to have this conversation for that specific reason, because there are things you should value, and there are things that should be valued. And we know that we're that thing, right? And so we're going to talk about the apparel real quick, and then I'm going to move into the Adidas story and why I was so upset. Dave, is that all right with everyone in the room?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure, because, I don't want to be a bully. I'm not trying to bully. I'm just trying to get this thing off my chest so I can feel better. Like the 5-year-old sitting in the corner, still want a piece of pie, but can't get to it. So, I'm being a 5-year-old, I'm stomping my feet, and I'm going to talk about this. So, Encourage Me, I'm Young. In 1992, I was sitting in a daycare. I tell the story all the time. And when God gave me the vision of Encourage Me, I'm Young, right? And so, I decided at this particular point to make a call. My uncle got the call, and my high school basketball team that I was coaching, right, often put quotes on the back of the shirts, and at the end it would say, Encourage Me, I'm Young. People would stand around the court. So that was the beginning of the brand, right? And so oftentimes people would literally read the quotes and be standing there, because we were playing and exposing our kids everywhere, right? Same thing we do with the mentoring. It's the same thing we did with the basketball, right? And so from there, in 2000, I tried to put it on my son's middle school team. Of course, when it ain't somebody else's stuff, the hate was real, right? So nothing there. Nobody wanted to put the encouragement. I'm young on the middle school, but encouragement was taking place. We went to back-to-back championship games in my son's middle school. So then we get to the high school, right? But before we get to the high school in 2004, God moves, and I start with one quote: "Time is all we have to change what we are." That T-shirt, I put that T-shirt in a number of locations where people were killed, right? But at the same time, I was selling them, right? And I was selling them out of the trunk. And so along comes in the process, in like 2007, a mom gives me the nonprofit, but then behind that comes, the hip hop summit that they were hosting and holding down at the music center, right off of Woodward. So Russell Simmons and all those guys were coming in. And of course, me being the aggressor that I am, I take no for an answer. I was on my way to work one day, and I get a call that Russell Simmons was staying down at the Athenaeum. It was a secret call. I don't know who called me, but Russell Simmons is staying down at the Athenaeum. So at this time, I was, I had my hair braided, as well still. It's early in the game. And I had did some music. So we did a soundtrack called the Brewster Projects, the whole nine. And I knew I could get to Russell. So I had T-shirts, but more so I pushed the soundtrack first. So I take my hair out, rough it all over my head, kind of looking like Bug, right? But I ain't have a bandana, right? But my hair was all over my head, straight up in the air. And I went and sat in the lobby at the Athenaeum looking homeless. I put on a pair of shorts, took off my work uniform, called in to work. And it's early in the morning. So you talking like 6:30-ish, 7 o'clock. Russell Simmons comes down to work out his daily routine, which I know by reading books, doing research, following the whole nine. Boom. He comes down like clockwork. I walk right on upon him with the soundtrack. He looking around where security. I'm like, here you go. I just wanted to give you this soundtrack. He like, man. And, I'm, minding my business, hand him the soundtrack, and I leave. Later on that day, the Hip Hop Summit is that afternoon. I go get fresh, everything. Crispy white linen, get shoes, everything. Get a haircut, cut all my hair off, get the fade, looking gorgeous, like I'm 15, right? I know you can only look 15 every now and then, Dave, but I was looking 15 years old. And I show up at the music center downtown, which is right next to DSA. Right? So I'm there. And so I see my man that worked for the Nation of Islam security. Right? So I can't go through the front door. I come to the back. He like, they on their way out. Now, I got this story several times. Right? That security was looking out. Another time, security wasn't looking out. Right? So security look out. I'm by his limo. I'm literally leaning. When they open the door to let Russell Simmons in, I'm standing right by the door. And Russell Simmons double tape. Like, bro. And I say, yeah, it's the same guy, brother, from this morning. He like, brother, you sure know how to switch it up. I say, yeah. I said, my name is Calvin T. Mann. Never forget my face. I'm coming. I said, so don't forget me. I got a whole movement that I'm building, right? So Russell Simmons like, okay. So the next year they come back, Hip Hop Summit. Now, mind you, I meet on this second Hip Hop Summit, I meet a brother who think I'm from Cooley High. So, because I look so familiar like other people, now, mind you, I'm selling T-shirts at the airport. I'm selling T-shirts out the trunk. I'm building the brand, right? I'm laying shirts with kids getting killed. That's between me and God. I'm getting more quotes. I'm writing stuff down. The next year, here come the Hip Hop Summit. Russell Simmons is back. This time, I got a baby tee for his wife, right? And I got a T-shirt from him. So when he come out the limo this time, he say, hey, what's up, Brother Russell? Yeah, how you doing? Oh, man, I got a gift for you and your lovely wife. And his wife said, he said, man, my wife ain't gonna take, you get that to somebody else. My wife bougie. She ain't gonna take that. I'm gonna tell you that right now. If it don't cost nothing, my wife ain't gonna take it. But I'll take this one. And he took it. So the seed was planted. So me and my uncle was working together. My uncle then gives me the Encourage Me I'm Young poem. Right? We print the Encourage Me I'm Young poem. Then we print together. He helps. We print about 6 of the different quotes. So we print the quotes, we round them up, and then he was like, well, why don't we send them to New York? Let's do a 6-pack. Just send it on in. So we look up Russell Simmons' office, and we send in a 6-pack. Right? So the T-shirts is off. Had no idea what was going to happen. Right? So we don't hear from nobody. No thank yous, no we got it, nothing. And so we continued to sell T-shirts. Now, mind you, at this point, my son is working out with Darnell Hall and Larry Foote. Larry Foote, the professional football player. Darnell Hall, the Olympic gold medalist. Everybody rocking Emiy, including my son. So my son working out with them every day. Right? So Larry Foote buys 2, 3 of them. Right? So we cool, the whole 9. And football season rolls around, and I'm driving around selling the T-shirts in the city. A positive message. None of my shirts got no guns on them. We ain't Emiy shirt ain't shot nobody yet. Right? So our brand is a positive brand to change the environment. And the reason why we did that is because Abercrombie and Fitch had published a story in the paper that they were changing their whole brand because people were complaining it was too sexual. So that was back in 2002, 2003, 2004. Here we are, 2006, 2007, right? 2008. So as we continue to sell to different people, to different networks, lo and behold, one day I go into this barbershop selling T-shirts out the trunk. Your brothers want to buy a shirt. Man, they cracking jokes. Man, that's whack. You know what I mean? What you talking about? Encourage me. I'm young. The whole 9. In the back of the room is my sister, Latasha. Right? Latasha. Right? So Latasha's in the back. Her kid and my daughter, Dominique, who's now 23, they both are going to school together. She recognized me, asked me to come to the back. She's like, I'm going to get the shirt to support you. I got you. Pay them no attention. I said, man, I get that all the time. It ain't no big deal. You hear no more than you hear yes around here anyway. You know what I mean? That's why the environment looks the way it looked. Me and her laughing. Right? And so I leave. So the next morning I get up, I got a message on Facebook from her. Cal, when you left, your shirts was on Ron's house. I was like, get out of here, right? So I called her on the phone. I was like, what you mean? She was like, check the message. So I turned to the TV in my basement. I hit the television to cut it on. And I go, wow. Encourage Me I'm Young is on Ron's house. My kids come down the steps. They jumping up and down. We gonna be rich. We gonna be rich. We gonna be rich. They doing their thing. And, well, that wasn't the case, right? Because as I was telling my nephew today, and I tell many people, business takes work. You're not going to get where you got to go until you do the things that you need to do and have systems in place to be a corporation, right? So you gotta understand it's work, right? Because no one has ever done, hey, there automatically. You got to be prepared for it. And the one thing that I'm learning more and more and more is as you build this thing, things happen differently and your reward is soon to come. You have to be patient. You have to hold the right amount of patience in building a business basically to where you want it to go. If you're just scaling the business to be small, then it'll be small. If you're scaling the business to be big, you got to work to be big. If you're scaling it big to be humongous, you want 10 floors, you got to have a different work model to get those 10 floors, right? And so in that process, I look up and now we got Michigan State before Michigan State, it's Western Michigan. So we drive all the way up to Western Michigan, do an interview with Western Michigan basketball coach. He then buys shirts, Emiy shirts, put it on his basketball team. Western Michigan was the first university to take one of our quotes and put it on the back of their shirts, right? Western Michigan went on to win the division. When you put the brand in your life, Emiy brand, you win, right? So we continued. We did basketball teams. We did basketball uniforms. We did football teams. So we continued. And then it was, I get an invite to Tom Izzo's house, right, for a barbecue. Now, in the meantime, everybody know we doing this work. But I get an invite to Tom Izzo's house. And we're having a barbecue, and we're in Tom Izzo's house. We're laughing and talking. I'm in the back room, and bam! Hey, Cal, they calling me. Emiy is on the NFL Network. What? Yeah, you got to come out here. So Tom Izzo and them all call me, and they see Emiy, right, on Larry Foote doing an interview with his son. Larry Foote is talking about his son on NFL Network and encouraged me. I'm young. Now, you know, who knows why the relationship didn't go further, but that year they won the Super Bowl. To me, Larry Foote was in there, encouraged me, I'm young. Another championship happened. I believe it was because of encouraged me, I'm young. That's the story. I'm sticking to it. Period. Right? Because when Emy's in the system, ain't no telling what's going to happen. So, in that process, our Emiy brand goes on, we win a Super Bowl. But, you know, for some strange reason, I didn't hear no more from Larry Foote or nobody else, right? Right? Then my man, he come through, Darnell, he orders it for the track team. And one of the kids is seen in the shirt because he had to go to an alternative ed school. The school read the back of the shirt. They call me. I come over, do a presentation at the school. The school is in St. Clair Shores. It's very diverse environment. I'm going from classroom to classroom talking to these kids. The school orders shirts. We put shirts on the kids. A few kids then asked for more, so we whipped out some more where they could buy some shirts. And so there were some more seeds, right? And we did the youth march where our shirts ended up in Uganda, right? Ghana. Our shirts ended up in Ghana, right? So then our shirts ended up in India. Then our shirts ended up in Germany. Then our shirts ended up in Toronto. Then our brand ended up in Mexico, right? And so here we are going and planting seeds in other countries in your own backyard, right? In your own backyard, I'd rather compete with you than to buy something that's good for you, right? So I understood now the climate for which we were in. So we continued. Think about this. This is the Emiy brand story. This is gear, right? I get a call. It's my man. Y'all talk about him all the time. Al Sharpton. What's up, Reverend Al? Man, I just did a whole presentation at the James Brown thing in your shirt. They love your shirt. What was the quote on the back of the shirt? Sometimes the things we see defines our decision making. So we got seeds out here, right? We got quotes out here. We got things out here. I ain't in competition. I realized that I'm really just competing against myself. That brings us to this conversation about Adidas. Many years ago, in writing my book, I wrote down the quote, "I'm possible." Many years. I write down this quote, "I'm possible." My man Zach Hart in 2016, 17, and 18 supported the Emiy National Respect Day. Not with just talk, with checks, and supporting where we could put Emiy Respect Day in various schools. Now, mind you, the brand, I got friends in Oakland County and all these other counties, and everybody in this area has a prejudice. You see? they have a prejudice. We have a prejudice where you see encourage me, I'm young. They say, oh man, your prejudice jumps in the way. You say that's for black kids. You see encourage me, I'm young. You see somebody else, oh, you too friendly with the white people. Right? You have no idea of who you're talking to. So I'm introducing you to the real Calvin Mann. Right? Then in that scope of things, I don't do hate. I was never taught that. As a young man, when my brother even ran home from a riot, my mom told me as a young man, never get caught up in that game. Do not do color, because the person closest to you can look like you, can do the most damage to you. That's what my mom taught me. And we were never taught hate. All kinds of people, nationalities, and everything came to our house. We had a Jamaican bus driver driving the charter bus. My mom and dad had relationships with all cultures. So I grew up with Popcorn, who was one of the top major engineers, pioneers at Motown. Used to go swimming in Popcorn's backyard. Right? So in his backyard was all kind of cultures. The Funk Brothers and all these people in the different nationalities. So I never grew up. My oldest brother and one of his best friends from high school who came home with him was a Philippine guy named Mike. Me, him, our families are still close to this day. So Emiy, birthed through me, was birthed in a all-white daycare, a daycare where it was nothing but white children. God gave me that vision in 1992. Our brand has been here. If you don't have the brand in your home, if you don't have this brand in a drawer somewhere or a closet, you missing the blessing that comes with these words, encourage me, I'm young. So I just want to make it clear that from this day forward, as I said, Dave, and to my wife and anybody else, it is on for encourage me, I'm young in this world. You will not be able to do what Adidas did again and we not capitalize or benefit. And we're not done with this incident by seeing I'm possible on Adidas, meaning we are coming. Back to my man Zach. I was sat in Zach's office the very first time we sat and talked face to face. Zach asked me, man, if you got all these quotes, let me see a few. And he said to me, that one right there, you should put that out. In the following season, spring, I'm Possible was put out. It was one of our best sellers. We had moms and different people and different cultures buy I'm Possible. We had different people. We are a true brand. We're just as successful and just as sweet as Nike and all the rest of them. And we will be on athletes as I'm moving us into that realm as we speak. And so athletes will be wearing our brand. We will now pay athletes to wear encourage me, I'm young. We're not asking no more. We're taking, demanding, and leading. Two, and the last thing that I want to get into, and I know my wife, she probably got her hands crossed. You say the wrong thing, you are a public figure, and you better not say the wrong thing. And so I'm gonna make it clear. We're dropping some new merch. That's it. You have the floor.
Clearly, Emiy is more than a brand. It is an extension of who you are. And so I'm so grateful that I met you in the course of the brand, and it's becoming an organization. It's becoming a icon in the community. It's becoming a movement. And so I want to talk a little bit about Emiy, how the brand affects the movement and the bigger picture. This is big picture talk. So part of my role as the executive director of Encourage Me, I'm Young is how we are strategic and how we're leading in this work of boys becoming men and what that looks like in our community. and how, as a community, we can better embrace this concept and we can better embrace our future. So the Emiy movement really is about the restoration of family. When you are trying to restore something, it's helpful for you to see it from a different view. So one of the views that we ask people to look at Emiy, so if you've seen our podcast, if you've seen our articles and Detroit Native Sun News, now you'll find them on Hype Magazine. As you move forward and you see our brand on schools and teams, and as we support family reunions, it's really important that this outside-in movement really captivate those who are listening. Part of this strategy is that when a person sees Emiy on another person, that one, it presents a sense of common ground, a meaningful exchange of just the idea that you are Encourage Me I'm Young, just like I am Encourage Me I'm Young. When an adult sees an Encourage Me I'm Young shirt on a young person, it is to encourage the relationship between the two. It is to find common ground between the two. It is not to intimidate the elder or the older adult. It's not to intimidate the young person who is wearing that brand. It is to draw us closer together, that we have something in common. We have something good and unique in common. That idea, when business owners see a young person come into their establishment and it says, Encourage Me I'm Young, we want them to have an identity connection to them, to encourage them, to let them know that the exchange between that adult and that young person or that customer, there's a relationship there. So you'll see our brand not just online and some storefronts and on people, but we're trying to get that brand into those spaces where people need encouragement the most. So you may see an Emiy bracelet, a wristband. You may see an Emiy hat. You may see a hoodie. You may see a T-shirt. You may see an Emiy outfit, as I have. I'm branding our Emiy skirts and our Emiy exercise gear. And we also have Emiy gear for babies. And so every baby that has worn Emiy gear has had success in their lives. Every Emiy baby became an Emiy kid, became an Emiy young adult, and are now this generation of Emiy are connected to this respect movement. So it's bigger than just a brand. This is a way of life. It is a change in how we think and how we see each other, and it's a change that is an investment in the future. It is an investment in our future that we have to. If we are trying to make a difference in the world, if we are trying to change the world as we know it, this is one of the tools that we're using, which is the tool of encouragement to help to do that. Encouragement is one of the top priorities in how children are raised and how an idea shifts and how a person becomes who they are meant to be. We do that through encouragement. So wearing the word, the affirmation of the brand is also important. When you see it, you can't help but say, you don't keep that in your mind. You say, Encourage Me I'm Young. You actually are affirming that sentiment. You are affirming encouragement. And so we have multiple campaigns around helping people to connect to this idea and the understanding that this is bigger than just a brand name. This is about a mindset shift. This is about a movement. And we want as many people involved in this movement who want to use and who need encouragement as a tool. So it's not limited to that. It is the expanding of that, new ways to encourage, which is also a new way to love. It's a new outlook. It's a new perspective. And we need to be mindful that we need new tools in our community. We've seen the things that don't work. We've seen when people wear certain gear and the mindset that goes along with that gear. There, and every image that you've seen on a T-shirt or a hoodie, and what that person represents when they wear it. What is the idea and the mindset that shifts along with the affirmation of what's worn and what is spoken when someone reads it? That is a seed planted in the mind. We are looking to plant seeds that restore. We're looking to plant seeds that move people into a new way of looking at one another. So it's actually so much bigger. The more you see the brand out in the community, the more you see it out in media, the more change is being created, the more mindset shifts that are created, the more we're looking at each other in a way that is respectful, not resentful, not fearful. And so once we get to a point where the brand is in our everyday life, we can change things. You can change things with just the affirmation. Words are power, and words are powerful. If we're not using the right words in the right places, we get what we've always gotten. Now we need to do something new. And so I'm just excited about Emiy. I'm excited about where we're going. Anywhere you see that brand, we need for you to encourage the person that's wearing it. And we need for you to be encouraged by even seeing it. This is one way that we can bring solutions to some of the things and some of the issues that we have. It's a start. It's an action that doesn't take a lot of, it doesn't take money to do that. It doesn't take, it doesn't make you racist. All of those dynamics are off the table when you start to encourage. So I'm just excited to even just have this conversation, to be able to expand it beyond just where people may see it as a T-shirt. It's more than a T-shirt. It's a mindset shift.
Brother Dave.
Hey. I think both of you have delivered some dynamic key aspects about the brand, the meaning of the brand. And this basically begins to work. We're looking at it from an outside standpoint, but really we're building internal stability emotionally and psychologically for those who wear the T-shirt, with the hope that we talk about influence. That's what we're talking about here. When you see the brand, you're influencing somebody. Either it's going to be positive or negative. Well, with all the quotes that Calvin has put together on the shirts, these are powerful influences that could either direct the young people, if they take heed to it, to a positive outcome, or they cannot take heed to it and be at a standstill. Well, Emiy is not about standstill. Emiy is about leadership. Leaders move forward. And so we're attempting to try to move forward. And by having a brand such as this, and a unique brand, because when you hear the name Emiy, Encourage Me, I'm Young, we're talking about uplifting and elevating and motivating and sponsoring young people so they can see their future in a brighter way. Right now, as you said, we're at some of a standstill because now kids don't know what direction to go. With all their gifts and abilities that they have, they're still kind of confused because they don't have something to identify with. Emiy gives you an identity to be with people who are moving forward, and that's what it's supposed to be about. We're always supposed to be progressing, and I think that with all that we're trying to do right now to help our young people, especially our boys, if you will, to move forward, they can create a positive image that's been kind of tainted in the past. So I think having the right kind of brand, supporting the brand, and remembering that it's an influence that we want to move towards inside out, not just outside in.
Yes, indeed.
Yes. So,
Calvin, I'm not sure, you kind of glossed over the Adidas. I'm not quite sure how to say it, the Adidas circumstance. So, do you want to share what that really was and why it was so upsetting, without having to disclose your thoughts?
So it was a
Don't get
commercial.
mad.
Right, don't get mad. It was a commercial. It was actually on television, and someone whose son actually epitomizes the impossible, who's taking oogobs of pictures, his favorite shirt, sees the commercial, and when it ends, it says "I'm possible," with the M being the Adidas logo. Right away, when he saw it, he took a quick picture of it because he had his phone in his hand, He take a quick picture of it and he shoots me a text message. Did you sell this? You over there, because he know we grinding. He thinking I didn't hit a lick and didn't tell nobody. All right? When I see it, I snap. Because, again, back to Zach, when I first put it out, even Zach was donating to us. He's got a jacket that says I'm possible. We did a jacket for him, right? And, again, it sold. It was one of our sellers. We had parents selling it. We had our mentees selling it, the whole nine. And so I'm going, wow, the little guy. I don't want to be the little guy. God ain't give me no little vision, and I'm not accepting being a little guy. And I said that, leave the little guys alone. And I said that, and then I sat down, and then I reached out to Zach, right? I called my man first, and then I reached out to Zach. And I went to texting Zach. And I'm like, dude, this is crazy. And so we were having a conversation through text message, and we're getting together within the next 30 days on an extended lunch, right, to see some things differently. Why did you?
So I was just asking you just to share so they would understand the impact of having that brand also mirrored by Adidas and them kind of rebranding something that's already been out here in our community, at least for the last 2 years. So we have videos on Emiy TV, our YouTube channel, that feature people actually in the Possible brands. They're in hoodies, they're in T-shirts, they're in videos, they're in pictures that people send back to show their solidarity with the Emiy movement. So it's out there, and it's out there where Emiy has launched that brand. So I just wanted you to mention that, because I know there are people out there who may have a similar incident, and it's not to say that there was malice involved in them having that, because words are words. And so what inspires people and how they're inspired, we're going to give them and probably others who may use that and maybe have used that, but just didn't brand it or copyright it like it's been copyrighted through Emiy. But just the understanding that it happens, it's a positive message that had to get out. Obviously, that's a larger venue to get that message out. I'm Possible is a powerful message in and of itself. It is another way that is a connection to Emiy and some of the other brands and some of the other quotes that Emiy has originated that have been gifted through Calvin Mann and his gifts. That's important. What's more important is that we understand that the imagery that we're putting out there and the words and affirmations that we're putting out there have purpose and function beyond fashion, beyond trending. So that's really important.
Oh, I was just...
You're trying to tap me. He's trying to tap me. Okay.
No, but yes. So, no, but yes.
Right.
But Dave, I'm better, right? And the original person who said it, which, to be clear, was Audrey Hepburn. Audrey Hepburn was one of the first images where the word "I'm possible" was used. So it is not necessarily that you can, this is stuff I know, right? Once I calmed down, I had to, realize that, this is one quote that I may not have a real fight in the game, but we're going to make sure that they know who we are and what we're doing, right? And share with them the many things that we can accomplish together if they want to get on. Other than that, we'll continue to move forward. There was some synergy, some more information I found out. They even moved back to Germany. So that's just a little bit around that subject. And that's pretty much it. If you guys want to take over from here, the show is now in your hands. I feel better. I'm reprieved. I got it off my chest. All right. But I just want, people to know that we're not here to stand still. We're going to continue to move forward. And the thing, Dave and Heather, that I really love about what you both said is that Emiy is a movement. In other words, meaning we're constantly in motion to change and win. We're winning. I don't know about you, and I don't know about you, but encourage me, I'm young. We're winning. And we're winning in unconventional ways. We're winning in ways that we didn't come certain ways, we didn't go certain ways, and then we didn't venture certain ways, and we're winning unconventionally. And the more we win, the more and louder we get to be about how society has seen and how society acts toward males, boys. We say we want our boys to be better. We say that, but just from what I am seeing visually, just from my eye and the experience, I'm gonna disagree. But that's just me, and so I have to paint the picture as to how I see the disagreement. More importantly, you've been conditioned, right? The conditioning of your attitude toward males, and this includes males, as we've talked about previously. Your conditioning toward males. I had a young lady in my office today, and she was talking about the ex, and she was talking about her son and how she wanted things to be better. And, her son was really, and I said, the son is heading in the same direction because of his words. And she agreed. And well, the son, she wants him to set up a one-on-one. Okay, here's the link, the information. He can set up the one-on-one. Here's what it costs. We'll talk to him. But y'all got to get out of the place of how you use your words against males. For some strange reason, I just got to believe God is in the midst and has watched centuries of what we as males have done and what society have said and done with males and how they have done it. And we got to change that because the children and the family dynamic is paying for that price. So I just want to make sure that was clear. Brother Dave, go ahead.
Yeah, it's a mouthful there. And that's what Emmy is about, changing the image. Unfortunately, again, sometimes either we operate from conditioning or we operate from how things are created. And unfortunately, we've been conditioned to see males from many angles. One of the things that I often try to say to females when it comes down to entertain the idea of a male, from a personal standpoint, I really don't do gender. I do behavior, because we see now women can do anything a man can do. We got football player women, they out there, I guess you say, playing football, and playing basketball. So they do what men do. If you look
lingerie
at
football.
I
say lingerie football.
Yeah. Well, I ain't seen that one, but okay. I missed out on that.
They got something for everything.
Yeah. So we can see by behavior. I remember when I was a kid, I used to ask my mom if a girl hit me, the boy hit me, could the doctor tell the difference between the two if I had a black eye? And she said no. I said, well, then it's not appropriate for anybody to hit me. So we get labeled, and unfortunately, there's more history to why men do what they do and why women do what they do, which we don't have that kind of time to talk about. So where do we start right from here? We start by creating the right image that we talk about, the brand that will allow our young men to see themselves from a positive light. If we begin from creation, when God made them, they came in the world right, but then they got reconditioned. And so we have to change the conditioning process of how our boys are seeing things. Developing masculinity and not having to apologize for being masculine. Developing a self-image that says you're confident, not cocky or arrogant. Developing the ability to implement your skill set that God gave you and not feel ashamed of it. When I was in school, the kid that was smart always got picked on. And so I suppressed it, and that became a problem because then I became the class clown, you see? So, and then I shifted again. So again, certain things condition us. And so when women make, I like to call them blanket statements, or people make blanket, I see men do the same thing. We're the problem. Men say, men, you're the problem. No, we got a problem. We're not the problem because it's a collection of things that brings that about. And we have the tendency to put ourselves on. That's why I say we exercise hypocrisy a lot. And that's what we have to, as you talked about words, we have to be careful about the words we use, because sometimes we plant the seed and then we dig it right back up. So we
Amen.
have to learn to change the conditionings on how we do business. And that's going to help change the behavior and the attitude towards our men. So we got work to do. And again, it's starting with the youth. We're talking about building leaders, but you can't build a leader till you teach them how to follow. You say you got to teach discipleship, and no one should be ashamed to be a student, to be a follower, because Jesus had 12 of them, and you be preparing for leadership because your day will come. So we're talking about changing the conditioning of the past so we can prepare them for the future.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Miss Heather?
That's powerful, Dave. When you said that, I have a mentor and friend, and she worked in the criminal justice system for a long time, and she noticed the disparities between men of color, boys in particular, and men of color. And she really dedicated a lot of her life work in that role to helping those boys redefine who they are on the other side of the criminal justice system. And she said that the biggest statement that she would make to them is that you made a decision to commit a crime, but you are not a criminal. It was the act, and the act is different from who you are as a person, because you can change your direction. And you paid your debt to society when based on the decision that you made, but that doesn't make you are not a criminal. And she started to teach them not to say that. So that is not who they identified with. That did not become their identity. It was a choice. It was an act that was committed, not a that is different from their identity. And the fact that and you brought that up too, that's a huge misnomer. I think that a lot of us miss. When we make a mistake, we are not the mistake. It's the choice that we made, or misstep. It's the choice that we made. Our identity is always evolving and becoming by the choices that we're making and what we do next. Not what we did before, but what do we do next? I like to remember that in the Lord's Prayer, it talks about give us this day our daily bread. Give us this day our daily bread, what we need to feed and live off of today, what we do today. And so that means that we may have an opportunity for a reset. If we have a tomorrow, then we have an opportunity for a reset to change our mind. You can change your mind, and you can change who you want to become by the choices that you make now. And if you are gifted with, I mean, it's a gift, with the presence of being in the next day, then you can choose differently. And lots of people do. You make the choices every day that take you to whatever your next level is. And so I want to just encourage us all to make sure that we recognize that if we are gifted with tomorrow, that we have new daily bread. We have fresh bread. And so that's also an opportunity to live in a new way. You can change your mind. Who you were yesterday doesn't have to be who you are today or who you are tomorrow. If you know that it's not in a productive and positive way, you can shift that. And that's part of the mindset shift. But that's part of the power that you have, and being present and being aware. So I think that's a huge understanding. It's a huge undertaking as well, because some people kind of get stuck in a rut. But again, it takes 10 to 21 days to form a new habit, and 63 consecutive days to form a lifestyle. So we can change those habits.
Yeah. Oh,
Go ahead.
knock me out again.
No, we can hear you, brother. So that makes all of the work and the conversations and the fact that when I said Can is a coward never tries, it used to be my man's mom used to say that to us when we was in school. Can is a coward that never tries. Don't come in here talking about Can. Ms. Irma Hall. Can is a coward that never tries. And that was that quote stayed with me big time, and I gotta share the fact that you can do something, and the human being, back to what you were saying, Heather, the human being is the only specimen in the world that can change the characteristics. The human being can go from from drug addict on the street, right, at the corner, the lowest coming to homeless, whatever the lowest coming to on their deathbed, about to die, right, to becoming the president of a company. We're the only people that can recover, that has optimal chances to become something. I said to a friend of mine, we have a what is that the word? We have opportunities. We have chances. I've had at least 3 lifetimes. I've had at least 3
resets.
Yeah, I've had at least 3. Right, that's on the low end. Right, that's saying, okay, you had these divorces. That's one. Right, but you went from an athlete. You went from an athlete to this guy calling me a coach. You went from an athlete on a coach. From a coach, you went from a coach to a dad. You was broke, kicked out of college, to having 4 houses, to 0 houses, to on your way back again. Man, there are a number of.
That's a lot of resets.
It's a lot of resets, right? Yeah. How do you recover? What's your bounce back? What's your bounce back game, bug?
Resilience.
That's the hook. What's your bounce back game, right? Your resilience, and how you come from that. You know what I mean? What was it? How were you able to do so? I'm gonna tell you. For me, it was God. Right? Yes, it was God. Because everything changed for me for the better when I listened. I was being talked to so many times that I couldn't even hear him. But the time I heard him, everything changed. And so, as we go forward in this endeavor and in this life, amongst these solutions, right, I want you guys to get very, very comfortable in donating and supporting this movement. I really want you to get comfortable doing so. We did 15, and we're just getting started, and we're headed to another level. I'd like to thank my guests. So, Heather, you go first. Tell everybody where they can reach you, meet you.
That's awesome. Thank you. You can find me on my social media. You can find me at yourinspiredjourney.com, which is my website. You can find me on Instagram at inspired_journey1. You can find me under Hetheru, Personal Change Coach. But if you want to reach out to me by phone, you can reach me at 313-759-7855. You can find me on Facebook under Your Inspired Journey or Hetheru, Personal Change Coach. You can find me in all those different places, but what's more important is that you actually reach out and connect. If you're ready to take next steps, whether it's as a person, you want to work on some personal goals, you want to look at having and experiencing conversations in a deeper level, in a deeper way, you can come to my study groups. There are lots of opportunities to connect. You can find our articles, you can find our books on Amazon. We are available, and we are here to be able to provide that information and resources. So please do reach out. Don't just think about it. Let's do it.
Brother Dave, thank you.
Hey, yeah, you can find me at FMAM Dave Patterson on Facebook. You can find me at, for my email is drome7 at yahoo.com. And my phone number is 608-343-0875. And yeah, like you said, if you really want to take it to another level where you can evolve and grow and improve on your focus on life, definitely I'm one that you can sit down and talk with. I got the experience. Somebody told me when I was 30, I said, I can do this. And he looked at me very boldly, said, you don't have enough experience in your belt. And I chuckled at him because I'd already had 10, 12 years in the military, traveled. But I didn't get it till I turned 40. And I recognize that, yeah, you need that experience. And that experience makes a difference. Added with education and communication, you can make the difference. You can be the difference and make a difference. So, and you can always find me at Good Fathers Only and Emiy Encouragement. I'm young. I'm always around.
Yes, indeed.
So, you know, I feel real good today. I feel special. I'm in my own little space. And it's amazing to be painting a vision through apparel, through work, through community work. Sometimes I don't really appreciate that. Sometimes I don't see that this work of what I'm saying stems from my brokenness. It stems from my parents' divorce and how I don't want another kid to experience what I've experienced. It also stems from me asking the Lord to help me. Use me. I open my voice. God, use me. You can try that too. Lord, use me to make this world a better world. Give me purpose. Give me sight. Give me sound. Give me lessons. Give me messages so we can help more and more and more and more youth. And Lord, I just had to really give that to you. This is all for you. You did this. And you get all the glory for this entire movement, for the apparel, for the t-shirts, for the websites, for the fathers, for the mothers, for the children, for the women, for the boys. Remember, put your family first. Everything else is secondary. Peace.
Cool.
Second part of my life, I live with my grandmother. She used to cook me breakfast, lunch, and dinner. She told me keep my head inside, yeah, be a winner. My great grandpa Steve used to take me school shopping and out to dinner. Yeah, I remember them family barbecues, cruise around Bella Park, face my favorite Aunt Patricia and Clark. She used to sit me and my cousin together and tell us we ain't cousins, we really brother. It's a blessing. Now that we grown, we tougher than ever. Even if it go from bad to worse, it's still where we hurt. Make sure my baby girl tired.